Hi, my name is Richard Crawford, host of Supply and Demand, an enlightening webcast show where we delve into the dynamic world of the global supply chain, where we navigate through the complexities, disruptions and innovations that shape this vital network of interconnected businesses. From sourcing raw materials to delivering finished products, we'll uncover the challenges that arise at each stage and explore the strategies for optimizing efficiency and sustainability. And each week, we'll highlight and discuss a specific supply chain topic. And of course, I'm joined each week by my co-host and CEO of the Atlas Network and author of Supply Chain Ups and Downs, Mr. Kareem Kaffouri, also TV star now at this point. What channels have you not been on?
I don't know. There aren't a lot.
No. I mean, you've basically done Fox Finance. You've done all the Bloomberg. You've done everything. And were you in Time Magazine?
Yeah, I was in Time Magazine. That's exactly right. And, just trying to check them all off one at a time,
Time Magazine, Kareem. Wow. I mean, it's not like you were Person of the Year or nothing, but it's still, it's
not
still
yet,
pretty good.
Not yet, Ricky. I'll let you know when that happens, though.
Today's topic, and that's tariffs. And I think for the purpose of people who are listening, whether you're new to the supply chain or you've been around for a while, let's talk about what tariffs actually are. In fact, let's dive a little bit into the history of tariffs, even the origin of the word, Kareem.
Sure. Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, it's on everybody's words. Great topic of the day.
Yeah.
Tariffs. I mean, it comes from an Arabic word originally. And what's interesting, I mean, in this country, or really in any country, it's always been a method of creating a balance of trade. It's always been a mechanism of imposing economic sanctions to essentially promote internal business, domestic business, and at the same time generating a source of revenue potentially. So in the United States, early on, up until the 1930s, actually, it was one of the primary sources of federal revenue, the tariff system of goods that would essentially be coming in from other nations. And it was almost saying, there's a privilege for you to bring your products into the United States, and we're going to charge you for that privilege, basically. Right. Is what it was. And then those funds were then reallocated to then create additional opportunities within the United States as well. But in the 1930s, as we started moving more towards kind of the free economic era, this is where tariffs started becoming reduced between nations in order to promote international business and opportunities and economic development cross-border. And, really what this is it's a balancing act. It's absolutely a balancing act of how far you take it, where you want your economy to be going as far as how international versus domestic, and how you choose to do business. And in the most, let's say, recent 50 years, we've been in a growth and a cross-border environment of lowering tariffs to basically promote international business. However, with President Trump, who's come into power now, he believes that this has gone to a level of imbalance and that the United States does not maintain its superpower status anymore and has become almost held captive to foreign nations because it's gone a little bit too far with the globalization and there isn't enough regulatory mechanisms in place. So therefore, let's start imposing some tariffs, which will generate revenue, which will at the same time be able to maybe dissuade some of the international business. Do we believe it's a good idea? Do we believe it's a bad idea? Fundamentally, it's not a bad idea, but the issue is that we've become so reliant on international trade and partnerships that at this stage, the American consumer will significantly suffer if the tariffs go on too long or are too high. So much so that until there's an infrastructure that's put in place, let's say in the United States, to offset these international relationships, that it could be a long, hard road. So this is what tariffs are about. This is the reasons why they're used and sort of through history how they've been used. But, today we'll just basically have to see there's some really important reports that are looked at by economists to know if the tariffs have gone too far. This would be the PPI report, which is the Producer Price Index report, and the CPI report, the Consumer Price Index report, which show whether the cost of goods are increasing for producers excessively, which could then create inflation, or if the consumer buying behaviors are starting to drop off which would then start moving towards obviously inflation/recession. So that's just kind of an overarching idea of this topic.
Well done. That was quite a comprehensive description. Well, look, let's bring in our next guest, and maybe we can ask her a few questions about it too as we're interviewing her.
Sure.
So our next guest, in 2013, Paula Blankenship, founder and CEO of Heirloom Traditions Paint, started the business to help educate her teenage son about the value and importance of entrepreneurship. Now, her skills in interior design and love of all things related to paint have been central to her success, earning recognition as a 2024 EW Entrepreneur of the Year and receiving the prestigious 2024 Gold Stevie Award. Paula, a very, very, very warm welcome to the show.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. Can't wait to join you here and just talk about some of the hurdles and, of course, supply chain hurdles. Lots of those to talk about.
I have a quick question for you. Is there a wall that you can walk past that you don't want to paint at some point or do something?
Well, no, not really. Not really. You know that already, right?
Everything's a blank slate to you, right?
Everything can be changed real quick around here. And this wall behind me, ironically, was just changed. This pink one. Be wallpaper about 2 weeks ago.
I got a sense of it during COVID a little bit. You know how we were all stuck at home for a while. Everything got painted. Furniture I was using chalk paint for old furniture. I was using.
Oh yes, I wish I'd known you then. I should have known you then. You know, that would have been a great. Some way we could have worked together.
He would have been your best customer, Paula.
I hear that already. Just a little too late. I hear.
Good to see you again, Paula. We're very happy
to see you too.
Very happy to have you here and excited to talk with you. And
you.
I enjoyed being on your podcast so much.
And I love
Richard. We've got to have Paula on ours, and we're going to basically kind of return the favor the other way around.
So let's have a little fun, Paula. So this is now our hot seat segment. So we're going to ask you three questions that we'll ask you to answer within a 5-minute range. If we go over a little bit, that's fine. I think it's a new year, Kareem. We start a new contest, right? So technically, Paula will be our first contestant this year.
Yes.
So you will be the reigning champion.
On my side.
Technically, regardless of what you do, you'll be the reigning champion for the first.
That's right.
That's right. Until
I like to win. So right, I'll be the winner for a moment.
All right, Paula, are you ready?
I'm ready. Go.
All right. So the time starts now. All right. So when exactly did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Oh, I think I was born an entrepreneur. I think there's a misnomer out there today being taught on social media, particularly, that everyone can be an entrepreneur. And I totally disagree with that. I don't believe we're all cut from the same cloth. And that to be an entrepreneur, I think you have to have a little screw loose, maybe just a bit. And just kind of willing to go for the gusto. And I've always been that person. I knew I wasn't a good employee early in my life. And I've always worked for myself and started as a child doing little small sales gigs. We would sell lemonade on the street at my mother's furniture store and bake cookies all night on Friday night so we could sell on Saturday. My sister and I both, and we're both exactly the same people. So I think we've always been.
I love the line that I knew I wasn't a good employee. God, I felt that.
And I'm damn still not a good one. I can tell you that right now.
All right, Paul, I've got question number 2 for you here. What has been your biggest business challenge?
Oh, my goodness. Well, being an entrepreneur with a screw loose, I will say focusing on what is actually truly turned into crank, what's making money. I get an idea a day and I have to stop myself from pursuing things that I think are valid. So I've been able to do that since I was 50, let's say. When I was looking out for someone other than myself, let's say, it was not as easy to gamble on my son's life. So I then had to get a little more focused and stop myself from going down those rabbit holes. And, I still venture in there a little bit, but I'm a gambler. So I'm a gambler on business. I'm not at the poker table, but on business. I gamble on me. I gamble on my belief system that I can do it if I want to.
And I think you're right. I mean, I think one of the biggest challenges for entrepreneurs is protecting the business against themselves. I'm like yourself. And, if these ideas are floating around way too much, it just causes so much white noise. You can't stay focused. I'm with you.
I can't tell you how many 11 p.m. calls I get, Paula, from Kareem.
I bet that phone's ringing.
I was thinking, can you get on the phone? I really want to discuss something with you. I was like, can we do it in the morning?
Yeah, I've got a good idea. I need to run it by somebody. Please
Right,
stop me.
exactly. Well, you're only halfway through your time. So for this last question, you can take a little time with this. So how important is supply chain management to your business and why?
Well, there would have been a moment that I didn't even realize the severity of it and what it really means in a business. But I guess I got to learn that one the hard way. In 2019, I moved my business to a new location that we had purchased in an industrial park for the sixth move in 11 years at that time. So moved thinking, hey, this is it. I'm going to move down, and we're so excited. Remodeled the building, moved in, put signs up to hire people, started hiring. And the next thing I hear is, hey, there's a little virus going around over in China. And, I was thinking, oh, that'll never be hitting here. And, the next thing I know, we're in the middle of it and still not understanding exactly what it was going to do to us. So all of a sudden, my packages that we were shipping from here were being destroyed, absolutely massacred in the shipping, because everybody was inundated. Every shipper, UPS, FedEx, all the companies that we were using were mishandling our goods, and people were getting, at one time we had 10,000 damaged packages that had been shipped out to customers. So you could imagine how a small company could deal with that. It was impossible, literally. And it was because we had deglosser, our liquid surface prep, that was leaking onto all of the package. Everything inside the package was soaking wet by the time they would receive it. So I was faced immediately with supply chain issues. So what do? How do I even stop this bleed? And the first thing I started to do was reach out to the container companies who I was buying tractor trailer loads of a particular jar, tried to figure out a different seal and such. Now all of a sudden, the people that I was buying a tractor trailer load of these jars from say, we can't give them to you. We're going to have to use those for hand sanitizer. So now I'm like, are you kidding me? Now what? Now what are you talking about? So I was like, we're screwed. This deglosser is imperative to clean our product, and we've been teaching that for years. Can't change that. Can't get another lid sealer because this chemical was eating the sealer and loosening the lid and allowing it to leak. So what do? I had no idea what to do. I honestly was pulling my hair out. I think, well, this is the end of our business. So luckily, found a container that could handle this product. It wasn't cute, wasn't pretty at all, ugly. Put it in it, and it survived. We threw it in the parking lot. We tried to do everything we could to kill this container to see, and it worked. And it was the biggest change ever in my business. So it really taught me a lot of what we were made of through that time period. When I could have thrown in the towel, just knowing there was 10,000 customers on the other end that were asking me for their money back or to fix something. And how do I get through that? I had a lot of new staff because we had just moved here. We had an enormous uptick in our business. Our numbers were straight up. So we had all of that impacting us at one moment. Then the reprieve, we think, we solved the problem. We got the container. We'll put everybody back to status quo. You help our customers get through this, whatever. We get all that kind of dust settled. And then all of a sudden, there is a freeze in Dallas, Texas, in the Dow chemical plant there. The whole roof system caved in on the plant that manufactures resin for acrylic resin for our paint. So now we are put on a short leash there to say that we have an allocation that we can't even get resin for our paint. If we do, it's on a limited basis. So again, never thought about those things, never had that pressure on us before, but when it hit, it didn't hit easy, it hit hard, and it hit twice. It was a 1-2 punch. So anyway, I do really value supply chain now, and I try to look at a lot of factors that are focused on world impacting, what's happening today. Governmental things for sure.
All right, I'll stop right there. You went slightly over, but it was so fascinating. I didn't want to stop you.
Okay.
I'm like, no, but that's all right, because right now you're the reigning champion.
Oh, good. Yes, send me a T-shirt.
That's exactly the challenge of so many businesses that until they really have to figure it out, They're going to go through baptism by fire a bit. And,
Absolutely.
it was during pandemic, and for other industries, it has to do with other things. It could be force majeure. It could be these wildfires that are happening in California. It could be a war or a change in a presidency. I mean, any of these things that are not really controllable or within our grasp can absolutely disrupt the supply chain. And those are the things that you can't even really plan for. You just always have to have an adaptable, robust idea that if my supplier went out of business tomorrow, could I still be in business? Could I still figure it out? And that's not easy to do. That's not easy to do.
I don't think we could be. I mean, I can tell you now, there's raw materials that are, when the Panama Canal was closed down and when all these dock workers were striking here not long ago, right back to that again. We start realizing, man, our materials are gathered from around the world. There's some of those mines don't exist here in this country. Yes. And if they are, we're not mining them. They're too expensive for us to mine. So we would be heavily impacted. We would have to maybe shut down part of our systems. What are the things what products that we offer, for sure.
Richard's got an important and very serious question to ask you now.
Yeah. So as well as being our reigning champion for this time being, you're going to be the first guest that we've had for our news segment called The Last Drop. If you could have coffee with anybody in the world, alive or dead, famous or not, who would it be and why?
Oh, you know who that would be for me, and oddly, and you'll never probably ever guess this. I would like to have coffee with none other than Martha Stewart. And the reason I would say that is because Martha has been a trailblazer, like her or don't like her, either way. I always like to say when I don't know what to do, I don't know all the moves, but I'm looking for the leader of the pack in my world would be someone like her. I'm older like her, still trying to figure out what's next for me, a woman at my age running a company of whatever size it may be. But she's always seemed to learn how to zig and zag no matter what got through her way, from going to prison to whatever. She's always come out smelling like a rose. So I think she's a sharp lady, and I would like to have coffee with her and just ask her about some of the things that she's encountered. And, I'm sure there'd be a great wealth of knowledge there that I would love to have a moment with her.
That's a great pick. Her latest Super Bowl commercial where she put on the Skechers shoes and did like...
She'll do anything. She'll sell anything.
So that's a great first one, man. Yeah, I have a huge admiration and adoration for her also.
Sure, I do too.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say same thing. I mean, what a great choice. She's just wonderful. And I also love the fact that Martha Stewart makes herself appealing to like every generation. Yeah. That's the other thing I find amazing about her, that, she just kind of continues to find an angle, whether it's becoming best friends with Snoop Dogg or God knows what. You turn around and she's like doing something. You're like,
she's the Madonna of the e-commerce world, in my opinion. She's been able to reinvent herself over and over for every generation to love her again. And like I said, love her or hate her, she is an icon. So for sure, an icon in my world.
Yeah, cool.
Absolutely.
Well, look, Paula, it's been an absolute blast having you on here. It's been great to chat with you. Very, very insightful and very entertaining too, by the way.
Well, thank you all so much for having me.
So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you or wants to know about your company, where would you direct them to online?
I would send them to allinonepaint.com. All-in-one paint. That's it.
Fantastic.
You can find me there.
Kareem, remind the audience how they can get a hold of you and your company.
Sure. TheAtlasNetwork.com for any supply chain solutions, or KareemKafouri.com for my thought leadership, fun stuff that I do.
All right. And of course, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching and listening. And just a reminder that each week we'll have a very special guest on to continue our conversation in the fascinating world of the global supply chain. And don't forget to follow our LinkedIn and YouTube pages at The Supply and Demand Show. Thank you, everybody. See you soon.